With no less than 20 financial institutions, Zimbabweans should be spoiled for choice on who to bank with. But it's less than a handful of banks that control the bulk of the deposits here, and they are mainly international. Despite having a high concentration of indigenous-owned banks to choose from, Zimbabweans prefer international ones.
For sentimental reasons, I would want to bank with a local bank. But for economic reasons, I would bank with a foreign-owned bank because they are stronger.
I am banking with a local bank, and the services are not as good compared to a lot of international banks. We have experienced a lot of cash, cash shortage, yes. Last year I had a transaction done into my account and it took me more than 3 months just to withdraw.
Public confidence has been stripped by a series of bank failures. At least 5 have closed their doors in the past 3 years alone, leaving thousands of depositors stranded.
Capital Bank was formed after an indigenous bank went under and had to be bailed out by a pension fund. Now this week, June 5th to be precise, it too had its license cancelled.
Failure to observe good corporate governance has been the biggest downfall of many failed banks.
There is a serious case of owner-managed institutional structures where you see the owner of the bank is also the manager of the bank.
That has given rise to insider loans, many of which have been non-performing, pushing up the rate of bad debts to an average of 17%. But is there a future for local banks given these challenges? Analysts seem to think so, though we could see a reduction in the number of institutions.
There is need for a financial sector restructuring and mergers, acquisitions, all that we expected in Zimbabwe. If you look at most of our banks, like the last statistics where you realize that about 4 to 5 banks dominate about 80% of the market share in terms of both deposits and the asset size of the market, you realize that what local banks need to do is to partner with the already well-established brands.
A set of reforms introduced by the central bank in January, including reducing the minimum capital requirements, were aimed at ensuring that there would be less chance of bank failures in the future. The Reserve Bank also committed to reintroducing an interbank trading system that could also unlock more capital to banks, which they can on-lend to the productive sectors, giving a much-needed lifeline to indigenous banks. Farai Mwakutuya, CCTV, Harare, Zimbabwe.